Hello, everybody. I am here today with Bill Miller, one of our Trillium Awakening teachers. After studying Zen Buddhism for 20 years, Bill has been involved with Waking Down and Trillium since 2009, and he's been teaching since 2014. Bill lives and offers Dharma in New York City and North Jersey. In addition, he has participated in training with Jon Kabat Zinn PHD, and has offered mindfulness meditation classes in New York City and New Jersey since 2011. Thank you, Bill, so much for joining me today. And I'm not sure, I know you're going to talk to us today about consciousness, but is there anything else about yourself that you wanted to mention before we begin?
Well, I think I could just jump right in. I really appreciate you doing this and appreciate our students and appreciate this work. And I've had some practice in Zen Buddhism, as you mentioned, and I've also studied with other teachers, one really powerful Satguru. And so I really was happy. I'm happy to do this because I think it's an important consideration in our work. And I wanted to begin with speaking about different types of awakening. I'm going to speak about two, and the ones that I am more familiar with in my own experience. And I think some of the challenges that we have in our work, we can talk about those as well. And then we'll do the guided meditation.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks. So in the context of Zen, I worked on koans and I did shikantaza practice for many years, many retreats, studied with teachers. And the sort of classic satori or kensho that they speak about is falling away of body and mind. Mm-hmm. So in the context of meditation, I recognized there was no body, no mind, no Bill, just a vast sense of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And or the universe in its raw form. And then later on, this sort of insight became more direct with a teacher I studied with. And pretty much every time we got together and our eyes would meet, I would fall away, my body and mind, and he would fall away. Mm-hmm. And the room, the floor, the chairs, the people, everything. And sometimes when I was not with him, there was just vast, pure cosmos, right? I wasn't, the emphasis here was on falling away of body and mind. There was no Bill. And at the time, it was a profound shock because, we're all conditioned. And I am conditioned. There's a Bill, and there was clearly no Bill. But there wasn't, and there was a recognition that 98% of my suffering was self-created, and I felt liberated, free, and sort of somewhat ecstatic, but the emphasis wasn't on an emotional feeling. It was more on a recognition that I am that, and I am this, and I create 98% of my suffering, and I'm not who I thought I was. So it was very stark and very direct. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, in the traditions, after that, you grow into the insights and those experiences, you embody them, right? Well, at Waking Down, it was quite, and Trillium, it was with all the teachers, on retreats, certainly, workshops, over the phone. It was quite a revelation to have this same experience, but my body and my mind were very much present.
Mm-hmm.
And and I know that there's no beginning and no end. So when all of us are on retreats together and waking down at Trillium, we notice and feel the vastness with no beginning and no end.
Mm-hmm.
But very much as our hearts are open and our bodies and our feeling sense. And I think there's a couple occupational hazards, you might say, for all of us. In the Zen context, certainly, there was no time or place for getting caught up in all the blissfulness. The practice wouldn't tolerate that. So even if you spoke too much about your insights, you'd get bopped on the nose. Because it's not about experiences, right? After the fact, if you continue to talk about experiences, insights, they're just experiences. You've objectified them, let them go. What's happening? What are you doing? You know, it was a very wonderful teaching for me because I think what happens in our work is because our retreats and when we come together, there tends to be so much love and bliss that it's so easy for us to objectify it.
Mm-hmm.
In nanoseconds, we've objectified it, we've personalized it, and then we're off to the races. We want to repeat the experience over and over and over again. We want to share the experience because it's my experience. And as a result, we don't, we notice and feel the love and the bliss, but we miss the emptiness, the voidness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always should be love, bliss, void. And the more we're able to feel the bliss, the more we recognize the emptiness of everything. And as they say in Zen, the famous koan, in all of heaven and earth, not one thing exists. So we don't want to cling to, because when students in our work come forth, they will often speak about, yeah, I feel expansive, I feel very happy, my heart is open, but I don't get this consciousness thing like it's a rare dog or something over there in another setting. But consciousness just is, it's not a thing. And it's apparent, it's obvious in everything that we do. It's only when we stop short and we objectify, we make it personal to us. It's a wonderful thing to recognize our unique self, as Mark Gaffney likes to speak about. The unique self is the recognition that my unique self has no beginning and no end. So that's an example, a demonstration of that which is infinite, no beginning and no end. But it's easy on a retreat when you're blissing, feeling the love and the bliss, and looking at your retreat and fellow comrades on the retreat, your friends, and just falling in love, to personalize it all and make it about me and you. And that's fine, and in the sense that we are there. But to have a really balanced and correct view, there is no experience or no experiencer. And in fact, it's ironic, but it's only when we let that be that the experience can happen. But it's real easy to miss that, the emptiness aspect, and just focus on, oh, it feels so good. So I think to appreciate the fact that we don't exist, or emptiness. And it's a little scary, and in our work,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds a little, people have all kinds of reactions to that emptiness. What do you mean? You know, but empty of separation,
Mm-hmm.
empty of separateness, empty of individual thingness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the emptiness is. Profound, most profound, no beginning, no end. And whatever's happening is just happening.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still no beginning and no end. So we may have a very local experience of Bill eating an apple pie, and that's fine, right? And to enjoy the apple pie. But then when we look a little closer, no beginning, no end. And this is really consciousness. And it's closer to us than our skin and our heartbeat, closer than our heartbeat. That's why it's easy to miss. But at the same time, we don't want to get caught by clinging to our experiences so much, because experiences are like thoughts, leaves on trees and everything else. They're just coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only in the clinging that we lose our sense that we haven't begun and we're never going to end, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So, does that help? Does that kind of present a context for us?
I love what you're talking about, really. That not to bring any fault to the sort of natural occurrences of living of life that we objectify experience, but we do it to the point where we miss the obvious continuation, that obvious non-separateness. It's also there. And I love that you said, then we kind of start running after experience to replicate an experience rather than to sit and rest as that which has held all experience, underlies all experience. And I think at one point you said, we stop short. I loved that. I hadn't heard that particular phrase before. We stop short of that recognition of that which is always there. So yeah, I loved the way you expressed this. And what was just coming to me, it was tying back to me how you said that your earlier practice was a lot of work with koans. And you speak the truth of these in very accessible ways. So thank you.
And I think one of the occupational hazards for all of us is, in this postmodern cultural context, is we're very addictive.
Yeah.
And we're addicted to feeling better, because for a lot of us, feeling anything at all is a big issue. We don't feel much, first of all. So feeling anything is a big issue. And then beyond that, a lot of us feel bad. We're addicted to negative states of feeling pervasively. And so when we have a moment experience of bliss, it's very easy to get addicted to that, and to the dopamine rushes into our brain, and we run to the retreats again and again. I live this myself, to have the experience because we want to feel better. And it's completely understandable. And we're also living in very stressful times with all the cultural conflicts and everything that's happening in the world. And for a lot of us, it feels really scary. So there is some desire to escape the stress through our own biological, psychological, and spiritual experiencing. But we have to remember that that's all coming and going. And the vastness, what you just said, Cielle, that just holds us, that holds everything, quote unquote, doesn't know anything about the different the cultural conflicts or the stress or not stress or life or death. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the practices around appreciating pure consciousness are important because they remind us of the utter mystery that we are, and the utter mystery that life is.
Mm-hmm.
And they also can be a doorway to directly experience that consciously and openly.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, we want to let go of experience, even let go of that. So moving forward, we can deepen in our felt sense of love, our felt sense of bliss, and importantly, our clarity of emptiness of all separateness.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't objectify anything. We don't pull back, shorten up, but continually feel beyond, feel to infinity, and continue to let that inform our lives and our spiritual path. So.
Yeah, I also really like this expression you've used a couple of times, and it's one that's new to me, the emptiness of separateness. I love that. It's a really beautiful statement. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, because people sometimes, they get, especially with heart-body-based practices, emptiness, that sounds like disassociation, but it simply means empty of separation.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that your body's not there, your desires aren't there, your
Mm-hmm.
eyeballs, fingers, and toes, and freckles and nose aren't still there. They are, but just not the way we thought.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we can just, and you know, and another thing that comes up that's very important in this is trust.
Okay.
Trusting, really trusting more and more and more what is true, what's happening right now. There's a part of us, because we're so habitual, that wants to just go by the formula, right? Whatever the formula is, this call, the way, and we need formulas. We can't, we're biologically, physiologically, psychologically, we're creatures of habit. Our brains apprehend things so we don't have to continually learn how to do them over and over again. If we did, we wouldn't survive.
Right.
So habits are part of the way the machinery works. But beyond that, there's a kind of a native trust that we sort of get in touch with in our work. And it's from the heart. It is the heart. It's not separate from the heart. And the heart here doesn't mean just the physical organ, but consciousness and conscious awareness, and this, our native condition that is very specific and local, as Bill and Cielle, rice or potatoes, we all have our own style. It's very local, but it's also non-local, a mystery that has no beginning and no end. And over time, more and more, we can't really distinguish. But, and yet we can distinguish when it's time to, shave. That's very, very important and very specific, very local. Time to clean the dishes. If you don't clean the dishes, they pile up and you get sick. That's stupid. Don't do that. Clean the dishes. After you eat, clean the dishes. If we don't, we'll get sick.
Right.
But we also just appreciate the magic that we are, our bodies, our minds, and the universe. So, anything else? Any questions? Or?
No, I do. And thank you for bringing in the kind of the fact that we are mammals and we have biological needs. Just something as simple like some of the habits that we have that just let us move through the day. They're not bad. And we can bring our own discriminated awareness into the, using them. Like you said, it's kind of common sense, do the dishes. So yeah, just for the sake of the preservation even of this particular organism so that we can have these experiences of love, bliss, trust, and consciousness.
Yes,
there are
absolutely.
so just thanks for bringing that in. It's just, kind of a very, something that's also overlooked.
Yes.
These kind, again, and I love that you've given this example that, especially in things like these retreats, the love can flow so strongly and can create such a feeling of such an experience of warmth that we do look for that experience again. We kind of get addicted to that. And then we overlook, as a result, some of the more used that word profound mysteries of life. And it's not that the love and the bliss aren't absolutely important and to be valued, but this is a whole being realization. So we don't want to get fixated in anything. Even just to be fixated in love and bliss is excluding a lot of the rest of our whole being realization.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's completely understandable that we can get stuck there.
yeah.
But we don't want to do that. And I gave a Dharma talk at the last deep dive, and I spoke about this essentially. Don't get stuck in your experiences and this addictive pattern, and it's easy. And because we think the illusion is we think that's not who we are outside of the retreat setting, away from our teachers, or even though intellectually people kind of get it, yeah, I know, that's who I am and all that. But we do forget when we're that life, reality itself is love, bliss, void. And so every moment is an opportunity to wake up to the fact that our embodied selves can be our unique selves can be very gifting and have enormous unique gifts that are loving ultimately, because that's who we are ultimately. And also none of this exists.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed.
Well, thank you, Bill. Thanks for referencing that Dharma talk that you made at the deep dive retreat, because I think that got recorded, didn't it? Yeah. Okay. So people might want to go looking for that as well.
Yes, it's on my website, and I have a YouTube channel, Heart Awakening, and Heart Awakening Bill Miller on Facebook. So.
Okay, great. And for those of you that are listening, I'll put a little title at the end that will list those websites. Okay, great. Thank you.
Shall we do the guided practice?
That would be great.
Great. I'm going to change my headset. So while I'm doing that, if people could just get settled into a comfortable position where you can be still for about 30 minutes, that would be great. So I'd like everyone to take your seat. And I'd like you to be still and straighten your back. Slightly tuck your chin in without being tense in your back or your neck. And let your hands fall into your lap in the most comfortable position. And be still. Let your feet solidly on the floor. so you're stable and grounded. And you can close your eyes or keep them slightly open. And I'd like you to bring your attention to the top of your head, feeling the top of your head, down through your face, through your shoulders, down through your chest, down through your arms and your hands, down through your stomach and your hips, down through your thighs and your knees, to the bottoms of your feet. Take a deep breath. And I'd like you to notice and feel the felt sense of your whole body right now. Whole body. Feeling sense of your whole body. Notice your breathing. Notice your breathing wherever you find it, in your chest or your belly. As you drop in to whole body, noticing and feeling your breathing body. And feeling your breath, whole body, breathing. Even now and now, as you drop in more and more, whole body breath. And I'd like you to think about our intention for this practice. May our practice together here today benefit all the beings that you know. May this practice that we're doing today benefit all the beings, the persons that you do not know in the entire world. And may this practice benefit the health and happiness for all the beings that we know and do not know in this world, and all the beings that we know and do not know in all worlds. May this practice benefit happiness and well-being for all beings, known and unknown, in all worlds. Let it be so. Feeling your body breath. Notice and feel your body breath. I'd like you to bring your attention to a sound. Perhaps the sound is outside your room, or in the street, or even my voice. Notice that you, whoever you are aware of and witnessing the sound, the object. Notice the sound outside your room or in the street. And notice that you are aware of that sound, that object. Notice how you meet the object. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to the bottoms of your feet and notice the pressure of your feet in your shoes or against the floor. And notice that you, whatever you are aware of that, the foot down there, as an object. And notice the movement of attention to the object, the foot. And notice the movement of attention away from the foot. And now bring your attention to the feeling sense of something inside your stomach, perhaps your heart. And notice that you, whatever you are aware of the heartbeat. Notice how attention meets the object. And notice how attention pulls back from the object. Noticing your heartbeat. the heartbeat, the object. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to thoughts. Notice that there are thoughts, and notice that you, whoever you are, and whatever you are aware of thoughts. Perhaps there are a wall of thoughts. Perhaps there is an ongoing, active story. And perhaps there's just random thoughts that don't appear to be connected. Notice that you, whoever you are, the movement of attention to thoughts. And I'd like you to zero in on one thought. Notice its beginning, and then notice its ending. And notice whoever and whatever you are pulling back from thought. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to a feeling sense. Some feeling that you're having right now. It may be happy, it may be unpleasant, it may be pleasant nor unpleasant. But notice the texture of feeling. Perhaps you'll notice it in the felt sense in your body. Notice that you, whoever you are moving toward the granular texture of feeling. And notice the texture of the object, this feeling sense. And notice that you whoever you are, pulling back from the feeling. And now I'd like you, whoever you are, and whatever you are, to notice the basic feeling sense of being alive right now. Move toward the object, the basic feeling sense of aliveness right now. And notice that you, whoever you are, moving toward the object of fundamental aliveness. And now moving back away from the object. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to awareness itself. You, whoever you are, focusing on awareness itself. Noticing and feeling awareness itself. And then notice that you, pulling back from even awareness itself. Awarenessing Noticing that you are prior to awarenessing. And now notice the effortless way that awareness meets whatever object arises. Notice the lack of effort in awareness. You, whoever you are, meeting the objects as they arise. And notice the intimacy with the sounds that you hear, the bodily sensations, your thoughts, feelings. And notice in and as they're arising, the recognition of non-separation. And notice everything outside is actually inside, and everything inside is not inside, but just everything. And you, whoever and whatever you are not inside or outside. You unfolding effortlessly the textures and colors, sounds, smells, and tastes. You showing up as the car driving by. You showing up as the muscle tension in the back. Thoughts. The siren. Nothing at all. Find the breath. Notice the breath and feel the breath. Notice your feet on the floor, your back against the chair. Notice your hands. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and notice the surroundings.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Cielle.
Really lovely. I've been led on in similar exercises, but there are some unique qualities to this one that I found particularly helpful, and I'll mention one of them was, especially as the exercise kind of progressed, and you would suggest that I could put my attention on something, an object, and then withdraw my attention from the object. So that as that kept going on, I found that the withdrawing from the object, my attention just withdrew back into just awareness. It's like it didn't have any place else to go, sort of. It's like, oh, if I withdraw it from that object, well, I could put it on another object, but what's the point of that, you know? And so if I withdraw it from that reference or that point, it just rests back in as awareness. And then, you know, so that was starting to happen even before you suggested to just allow awareness to be with awareness, because it was just a kind of a natural experience that happened. It was, I guess you could say it was an experience, and yet it was very delicious. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I guess you might refer to that as a healthy masculine. First of all, the awareness that we have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
and that we can move toward and move away. And there is the play of forms, very important.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not separate, but at the same time, in the course of our unique unfolding into the world,
Mm-hmm.
we never want to forget the fact that we are responsible and we have a choice. And to with our attention, but also our actions. And it's really important that we learn how to act out of our awareness. Our hearts know so much. And then if we don't act out of what we know, then we won't grow. And sometimes we make mistakes, but that's in the learning curve of our growth, of our choice, and very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how you just sort of normalized that sometimes we'll make mistakes, and that's natural.
Yeah, inevitable.
Inevitable. And then we don't have to be fixated on doing something perfectly. We can have an intention.
Yes.
And then we rest into what results from that intention.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything more you would like to say?
No, I think we've done it. I really appreciate you and this work, and all the students and anyone who listens to this call. Wishing you well and good luck. And thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, Bill is currently a Trillium Awakening teacher, and so he does have a lot of information about himself at the trilliumawakening.org website. He has his own personal website as well. You want to give us the name of your personal website again, Bill?
Heart-awakening.org.
Okay.
And I have guided meditations that you can play right out of your phone or your computer just with a click at williammillerlcsw.com.
Wow, lovely. Okay.
Yeah, williammillerlcsw.com. Yeah.
Yeah, so I invite people that are listening to this, go to these different resources that Bill has already made available to us. And also, I know that on the Trillium Awakening website, there's also a contact page. If you'd like to contact Bill directly, you can find his email address and phone number there.
Yes. Thank you, Cielle.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day.
Beautiful.